You know, last July I woke up and I had this awareness that there's these teaching stories, these practices, these protocols that I share with parents, you know, anticipating separation and divorce, 2 people at a time in my office, that I thought, if I would write these down, I could get them out. I could share them with anybody who could use them. And suddenly it was like, well, and why wouldn't I? Because that would certainly be I don't know, that would be the prayer of my heart, is that if there's something here that anybody could gain value from, that it would be available. And so I literally sat down and thought, okay, well, if I were going to write it down, what would the chapters look like? What would the content areas be? And honestly, in 2 hours, it sort of spilled out. And I think that was the clue that it was time. That was the clue that I had been doing the work long enough, that I really did have a sense of what the terrain was. I do know some about how parents walk from that very first fearful moment of, am I really going to do this, to the end game where we're there, we've arrived, we've restabilized, we're in 2 homes, our kids are okay, and so are we. So that's the story. It's the family life story that any separating and divorcing parents want for their kids, which is, wow, we went through this really hard thing. We decided to divorce, and yet we emerged in such a way that our kids are doing great, and we're okay, and we're walking forward, and we're proud, and we know how to come back together for a 8th grade graduation or a baby naming or all the things that may bring us back into the same room. I remember my son's senior night in basketball. His dad and I often sat on opposite sides of the gym, but when it came to that night to honor that senior, there we were, both of us with our arms around him, our arms actually touching each other on his back, prouder than ever as co-parents of an amazing young man. That's what I wish, no matter how difficult a divorce may be, that we can work through those feelings to such an extent that for our children, there are those precious moments where all that matters is my mom, my dad, my parents are there to support me. And that's why I wrote the book, to take all that learning and share it basically with you. I think that oftentimes parents don't recognize that it's not divorce itself that is harmful to children. Obviously, we would all like to stay original families that are loving and caring and thriving, but that's not always possible. So what I want co-parents to understand is it's not the divorce. That's not what hurts children or sets them up for difficulties. It's conflict. It's unrelenting conflict. It's losing contact with a parent. It's the inability to feel safe, staying in the rhythm of growing up and loving both of your parents openly and honestly without feeling shame or tension or like somehow you're hurting your other parent. That's really crucial for kids. You know, whether parents are divorcing and separating, the whole rhythm of life for kids continues forward. And is there a bump? Sure. But the fact of the matter is, in that bumpiness can grow resilience. And that's what we teach in the book, is how to raise well-adjusted and resilient and resourceful kids, even in the face of a family change.